Hey, it's your boy Panda here, back from another amazing round of time travel. As you can see by the hat here, and I know this won't make a lot of sense to people, but I'm going to touch on a little story here in a minute that it doesn't tell the full story by any standard or measure, but it's one that I haven't told in a while. So I'll give the full version, at least to my best recollection. I'm sure there's a couple people that can maybe fill in the blanks, hopefully. But anyway, as you can see by this hat, and as you've seen me talk about on Facebook and probably some other mediums, I worked at a grocery store called H.G. Hill. H.G. Hill Grocery, H.G. Hills. Some people will pluralize it, just like some people do Walmarts and things of that nature. But it was and still is, a grocery store in the Middle Tennessee area. The number of stores have declined quite a bit. The company overall has gone through quite a bit of changes while I was there, and of course after as well. Um, the one that I worked at in Franklin, Tennessee, is no longer open. In fact, last time I was home, which was it's been a little while, honestly. Uh, the store was completely gutted out. Maybe I'll post some pictures in here too. We'll see. I don't know how much I'm going to do with this. But I went back and looked, and it was so depressing to see it gone. I worked at that store from, I believe it was 94 through 1996. And the only reason I left the store was because I joined the Air Force. And obviously I couldn't still work in the Air Force and at HG Hill at the same time. But anyway, as a teenager, it was a good job. It made a little bit more than minimum wage, and I got a few raises. I did pretty well there. I usually worked quite a bit of hours, even though I was a full-time high school student. They gave me all the hours I could ever want. Anytime they asked for, if anybody could work extra or even overtime, I was first one to raise my hand because I'm a fan of making that money. I don't know if y'all noticed that or not. But yeah, so I worked there for quite a while. Loved it. I worked in just about every aspect of it. I started as a bagger, taking people's groceries out, then cashier, worked in produce, I mean, pretty much any part of that store, just about, other than running the store itself as management, which, you didn't see a lot of 16 to 17-year-olds doing for obvious reasons. It was just a great learning experience, and it was old school. They had very high standards. If you were to go in that store, and especially that part of the neighborhood back in the day, you might be surprised at how high the standards were for this store. The clientele that we had were not, rich and famous by any measure. It's not the Franklin that most people know today. So it was a unique learning experience. I was very much in the community. I knew a lot of people who lived in the neighborhood there, and that worked out great for me too in a lot of different ways. But going back now, it's been a long time, obviously, since I worked in that grocery store. But the memories are still very, very strong, and one that will never ever go away. I don't think, as long as I live, anyway, is the one night, and I can't tell you what time of year it was. I can't tell you anything other than it was getting around closing time, which I believe we close at 9, and yeah, that's really all the setup that I have. Other than I'm working, the night's winding down. We've only got a couple customers left in the store. We're kind of at a skeleton crew at that point. Usually at that time of night, you're starting to wrap up the stock and you're getting into the cleaning because you had a little hand in everything. It wasn't uncommon to have me sweep and mop the whole store every single night that I worked. And not complaining, that was just how it was back then. You covered a little bit of everything. So I'm kind of winding things down, but I was working my aisle, which at that time, the aisle that I pretty much owned, because we had specific ownership of aisles. My aisle was the one that had like pickles, mayonnaise, ranch dressing, well, all the salad dressings, those kind of things. So one side had basically, your vinegars and stuff like that. Other side had pickles and such and so on and so forth. Anyway, the aisle next to me contained the juice products. Now, again, let's go back in time. This was 1994, 1995, 1996. Things on the counters and the things on the shelves were not like they were necessarily today. You had a lot more glass bottles, and the big metal cans. Y'all remember those? Some of y'all don't. Well, I guess there's a few still around that you can go buy, but it was a lot of glass. Because we used to have those little carts that were like this tall that like kids could push around. And man, I can't tell you how many times some kid would come whipping around the corner of one of those and just like take out a whole row of pickles or something. And it's not fun. It's not fun. Which, good segue, I guess. So anyway, I'm sitting here working my aisle. I think I was probably facing or zoning, or depending on where you work, they call it different things, but bringing the product to the front so it looks good. I do remember that much. And then all of a sudden I just start hearing crash, bang, boom. And I'm like, son of a bitch. I figure some little kid running around or something and gets knocked out, took out a whole row of juice or something. And juicing is funny. I don't know if you've ever spilled liquid. All right, I'm not challenging anyone to do this, but maybe this summer, take a gallon bottle of water. All right, just take that and just slam it on the ground. Not inside. Do it outside. Be smart about it. But just see how far that 1 gallon of liquid goes. All right, do that, because I want you to imagine now. And this isn't happening at the time, but like milk, how bad that would be to clean up. You know what I mean? So I hear the crash, boom, bang. I know I got something to clean up, and I know it's more than 1 gallon because I could hear the multiple bangs. So I'm already mad at some kid I don't even know yet. So I go to start going down the corner and just go see what the hell I got to clean up. You know, I wouldn't even really been mad at the kid or the parent. Stuff happens, but I was like, I got so much things I need to do, and now I got to go stop and clean this up. You know. I start walking towards the end of my aisle so I can turn around and kind of make a U-turn back up. And as I'm walking down the aisle, I do remember I'm hearing more crash, 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 crash. So now I'm like, what in the hell? So I'm picking up my pace a little bit. I'm probably mid-jog. And I just remember looking over and seeing one of my friends, and she's like, just jaw dropped, eyes big. I come around that corner and I see this man. This massive man. And now I know the fog of war can kind of mess up memories a little bit. I'm very cognizant of that fact. But this dude was huge. Just huge. And the aisles weren't as wide as they are now. Back in the day, you didn't have as wide of cars and so on and so forth. My man's has his arms out, full length, and he is just going down this aisle, just raking his arms down it, okay? So he's knocking juice down. I mean, I don't know if there was really much juice left after he was done with it. So he's knocking the juice down. I'm trying to take all this in, all right? I look down, and it's just a brown puddle because all the colors of juices have run together and just turned to this brown mass. It smells amazing, you know, but it's just this brown mass. And I look back up at the guy, and I notice that he is just bleeding. There's blood all over him. Because raking his arms through those bottles, some of them were breaking as he was hitting them, and some of them were probably breaking it. There was glass, obviously glass everywhere. And about that time, I'd like to imagine that this next part of the story was like it was told by some others, because when I got home that night, everyone was like, dude, what's going on? Tell us what happened, because I had to stay late. I ended up calling home and saying, hey, everything's good, but I need to stay late. I volunteered to help clean up because, you know, it was a lot. It was a lot. I think we ended up staying there a couple hours late to clean up. And I don't even remember if I had school the next day or what it was, but I couldn't leave Billy, the store manager, just to clean up by himself. You know, it was bad. But I get home and everybody's like, dude, what the hell happened? Like, I heard that you went and took this dude down, this and that. Apparently, that's the version that got out. And I still don't know how, because we didn't have Twitter and social media and this and that. Like, all I would have even been possibly armed with is my trusty H.G. Hill shank. You know what I mean? So I don't know how this version got out that I went and took this dude on. Because at the time, I was a very, very skinny dude. Like, I joined the Air Force. Minimum weight for my height was 123. I had to get a weight waiver because I was 121. All right? I'm 5'10", 121 on a good day. And I ain't taking on no dudes that was he was probably legit 6'5". I'd say every bit of 250. The real version of the story is he starts coming at me. Okay? Again, I would like to be that Billy Badass, but that is not what occurred, you know. I'm not afraid to run if the situation is too tense. Now, I'm not saying I might not come back and whoop your ass later, but I need to evaluate the scenario. So this dude starts coming at me, and man, I just froze. I straight up froze. But my man Terrence had my back. We had, again, we weren't in the greatest neighborhood at the time. I know Franklin's changed a little bit, but there was some concern over, you know, just juvenile criminal behavior and stuff because people like to hang out in that area. There were thefts, there were robberies, there were things of that nature. So it wasn't uncommon for the store to hire off-duty officers to basically work security. Terrence was a detective, and may still be. I'm not sure. I haven't talked to him many, many years, for the city of Franklin. And so he worked many nights. He was one that I always talked to. He was a football player for Franklin in high school back in the day, and just a big, massive, massive, massive man. You didn't want to mess with Terrence. I tell you that much. But anyway, so I freeze, and all of a sudden, I just get pushed. And he didn't knock me down, but I was, getting over, and I just remember looking, and it was Terrence going after this dude, and I just knocked something down. But he's going after this dude, and I just remember him bear hugging him, and just boom, and he just slams them down on the juice and the mess and everything else. And then people are starting to come at this point. So then I'm kind of getting back to my senses, and I'm trying to keep everybody back and push everybody back. And then other people are coming up from the back of the store because they're hearing all the commotion. And mind you, no one really still has a clue what's going on. I heard something, so I reacted. The young lady that was jaw dropped, she heard something, so she was reacting. And then Terrence heard it, and I don't know, maybe I don't think I screamed, but I really don't remember. I feel like I just froze. But anyway, Terrence comes, takes him down. We end up getting the guy. Well, he ends up getting the guy, detains him. Meg comes, checks him out. I think they ended up taking him to the hospital because there was definitely some other issues. If memory serves me correctly, and I'm not making this up, he believed, at least this was what the version that I got, and it was live on scene, was that when we had these, we didn't have like the sensors that would sense when you walked up to a door and they would open. We had a pressure mat on the ground, so when you stepped on it, the door would swing open for you. So apparently the magnets in that set off the chip the Republican government put in his head, and that's why we got to that point. So if you have a Republican government chip in your head, be very, very careful around those pressure sensitive switches, because man, yeah, those magnets apparently are a motherfucker. So yeah, so that's my H.G. Hill story for the day. I've got a billion trillion more, but I don't ever know what happened to that guy. I don't know. I've lost touch with quite a few people that I worked with over here, because again, we didn't have Facebook and all these other social media things. I'm still in touch with several, but that was a crazy night. That was a crazy night, and one of those memories at the time. I didn't know it'd be a memory today. Obviously, it was just like, what the hell is happening? Well, get a couple hours overtime, sweet. But yeah, I'm glad I have that story to tell, and I'm really glad I have this hat. I found it. I'm shocked that I found it. So, 547-321. I don't know what that was either. I guess I should wrap it up, because now I'm starting to ramble and rumble on here. But anyway, thanks for watching. Thanks for tuning in. I plan on, hopefully in the not too distant future, start kind of documenting some more things that I've found, kind of for my own little history project. I think it's important to document these things, and I'd like to go back and kind of tell the story. So if one day I can't for whatever reason, it's out there. So people go, oh, well, that's why the hell he had that. So there's a little bit of the H.G. Hill in my personal history. Hope you enjoyed it. If you want to hear more, see more, whatever, let me know, and I'll try to keep them coming. I got to get back on YouTube, don't I? So until next time, holler at your boy Panda, and keep it real.